To the airwaves. It's time for the Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier, and Simeon. Martin is a national championship fullback from the 1992 Alabama Crimson Tide, known for his bruising runs and devastating blocks. Now he's bulldozing through sports talk with that same championship intensity. Joining him is his son, Xavier, a savant of football knowledge and statistical insight. He's your go-to source for the latest recruiting news and insider updates from across the Bama Nation. And Simeon, the thinker and contemplator, bringing you insight and knowledge that is logical, thoughtful, and on point. Together, they deliver fair and balanced analysis from an insider's perspective with real conversations where the callers, the listeners, and the online maniacs get in on the action by sharing their thoughts, their comment, and their reaction. Join our online maniacs at facebook.com/The Martin Houston Show. You're listening to Tide 100.9 and 1230 WTBC. It's time for kickoff. So buckle up and get ready, because this is the sound of Bama sports. The Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier, and Simeon is live. Roll Tide, roll!
Roll Tide, roll. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grand Rising Crimson Tide family from Rodriguez Carlisle down in Jacksonville, Florida. We welcome him into the program this morning. Maniacs, we welcome all of you in on this wild card Wednesday, Would You Rather Wednesday, as we move through SEC Media Days. It is the big day. Your Alabama Crimson Tide takes the podium in terms of what's happening over there. And then, of course, you have Florida, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M taking the podium. We can, finish breaking down the SEC comments about the Save College Sports Act. Thank you, given 4 principles. We can bring that conversation up if you like. We can also talk about Stephen A. Smith blabbing, saying that the board should be fired with Feinbaum right behind him, talking about what happened. And some of the things they stated were real in terms of what happened. Some of it was false statements about it's obvious that the board took over a better roster. We've said that that's not the case, and another piece of evidence bears that out. We talk about that. We can talk about one of the guys that's leading the charge over at SEC Media Days, Ryan Coleman Williams. Is he following suit, guys, with what everybody else does? All the other big wide receivers at Alabama. Breakout freshman season, drop off in year 2, explosion in year 3. See ya after year 3. So, X, we can talk about that as well. Lenore Sellers giving much hype to and much love to Kane Womack. So we can break that down. And then, of course, right now we would have, after today, 7 of Alabama opponents would have hit the podium. What you think Alabama's record is going to be? Yesterday, DC made the statement he thought Alabama would be 5-1 based on the people who they would play. Was it 4-1? Yeah, 4-1. And No, it was 5-1 because it was all four teams yesterday was on there. I get it right. 5-1. But he thought the loss would be to Georgia. That shows you that sometimes stats and probabilities don't mean anything. Brand means more going in, even after the results, right? So we can break down all of those topics. Other things we can throw up is what question would you have, Bama fans? You have the head coach of Alabama up, and you're sitting in the room in the SEC media days, and they call on you. What question are you going to ask him? Will it be about the quarterback room? Will it be about the injuries? I mean, how big a deal? We hadn't even talked about this offense. This offense is expected to be better, guys. And two of the main explosion guys, we don't know if they're even going to be ready at the beginning of the season. Is EJ Crowell, is Noah Rogers going to be ready? How much better is Alabama if those two guys live up to their height? You know, who are going to be the impact players in 2026? Pick a couple guys, offensively, defensively. All of that is up for grabs this morning on this Wednesday. We invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Empowerment Training and Consulting Hotline. Or, of course, Maniacs, you can always add your thoughts, comments, and reactions to the conversation. Welcome back in on this Wednesday, X. Welcome, Simeon. Appreciate you guys up and at 'em with us this morning. I'll toss it to you, X, and see where you want to take it, man. Let's have a good one.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting fact about Alabama wide receivers, and because we're going to get to hear from Ryan Coleman Williams today at SEC Media Days. I've looked at this before, but this was the first time I actually went and checked it. Is there is a history of Alabama wide receivers having these amazing freshman seasons that we're like, oh my goodness, it's only going to get better from here. And then as sophomores, they have this drop off, and everybody's questioning, wondering what's going on with them. A loss in catches, yards, touchdowns, and then boom, they explode again their junior season. And so we look at it, of course, Ryan Coleman Williams as a freshman had 48 catches, 865 yards, 8 touchdowns. And he ended up with one more catch in year two, but his yardage dropped to 689 and 4 touchdowns. Well, if we go look at Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, and Calvin Ridley, three first round wide receivers, the first three first round wide receivers that Alabama had up under Coach Saban, they all did the exact same thing. Julio went from 58 catches and 924 at the time, the freshman record, to 43 catches for 596 yards and 4 touchdowns. Returns junior year, 76 catches, 1,133 yards, 7 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 59 catches, 1,000 yards as a freshman, 11 touchdowns. As a sophomore, 45 catches, 736 yards, not bad, 4 touchdowns. And then, of course, we know his junior year was a record setting year in the SEC with 124 catches, 1,727 yards, and 16 touchdowns. And as well as Calvin Ridley. And by the way, these guys, of course, all set the record for receiving yards as freshmen. Calvin Ridley, 89 catches, 1,045 yards. It drops to 72 catches for 769 yards, but then comes back as a junior. His actual lowest catch production, but his most yards per catch, he had 63 catches, 967 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So we have a history of these guys having drop offs, coming back. And is that something that you believe we can see from Ryan Coleman Williams this year? is this crazy bounce back that all three of these previous Alabama wide receivers had before, of course, leaving off to having solid to Hall of Fame careers in the NFL.
I expect Ryan Coleman Williams to have a bounce back year, just like all of those guys. Just based off of what we've seen him during the offseason, it seems to be. I remember last year he was everywhere doing streams and being real outwards in the media. This offseason, I don't think I've seen that as much, and I could be wrong, but I think he's taken this year a lot more serious. But also, I mean, if you can tell based off of the weight room as well, he's gotten much bigger. Looks like he's gotten a little faster, stronger, of course, and I think he's going to follow track in that.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a bounce back year for Ryan Coleman Williams. I think RCW does such a better job. One is hopefully the relationship with him and Grubb is what it needs to be. Number two is there is no Jeremy Bernard to take away snaps or plays. That's number two. Number three is I think that we sometimes Ryan Williams burst onto the scene, had some big time plays, but the reality of it is I don't know that Ryan had his breakout season was the equivalent to the other guys because he kind of faded down the stretch once people got film on him. If you go back and watch his freshman year, you take away the Georgia game, we would not have had as much expectation on him as we did. Some of the people who were shouting Elijah Brooks, when I was saying early in last year that Elijah Brooks was actually having a better year than Ryan Coleman Williams did because his year was progressing, people said I was crazy. Elijah Brooks last year was a 3, a 5, a 7, and playing like an 8 at the end of the year. Ryan Williams started off at a 10 and was playing probably a 6 or 7. So I don't know that it was as big a drop as we feel because of the trajectory. And then a couple other things, we have to get the break here, but I want you guys to think about this on the other side. Ryan Coleman Williams, number 4 is that he wasn't a very big guy. And so did they hide him some last year? Why was Ryan Coleman Williams in the slot? Was it because they were hiding him, or was it because they had other guys they were trying to put in different positions and thinking that he could make the adjustment to the inside slot receiver? And he just couldn't. But they were so vested that they couldn't mess up everybody else. That makes sense? So think about that. And number 2 is, number 5 is, will he make the move back to the outside and kind of have a breakout season? And then the other point is I want us to address the Elijah Brooks thing. I don't think that, and we can talk about it on the other side. Jacob Powell asked, are we counting out Brooks out? No one's talking about Brooks as just at the same type of level. I mean, I know I said last year that Brooks was better, but I don't think Brooks is in the same boat in terms of you looking for a drop-off this year. I think he will find his way in because he was never at any point last year considered the number 2, number 1 guy, where Ryan Coleman Williams, Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, they were all like the number 1 guy. So that we'll address that on the other side as well. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier and Simeon.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have some slowing on Highway 69 south from Skyland Boulevard to Old Greensboro Road. It's a 7-minute drive. We have continuing road work on Highway 215 between Skyland Boulevard and 10th Avenue. Also construction work on University Boulevard between Arcadia Drive and Crescent Ridge Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's.
Save thousands on a new Nissan, and every Women's Wednesday, get a $49.99 oil change with a complimentary multi-point inspection at Townsend Nissan. your family in the car business.
Pro Rewards members save more during Lowe's Pro Savings Days. Save up to 20% on in-stock molding when you spend $250 and up to 20% on in-stock pre-hung interior doors when you buy 6 or more. Valid through 7/31 while supplies last. Selection varies. See Lowe's.com for details.
Where they do that at? If you're looking for the ultimate experience in electronic bingo, head to Bama Entertainment. We've expanded at our location. Now with 2 buildings, not just 1. Come for our Mystery Wall Cash drawing Monday through Thursday, every 30 minutes. On the weekend, live entertainment or DJ. Ticket drawing for the jackpot wheel spins and cash giveaway. Don't forget about our double jackpot payout up to $5,000. Great atmosphere, outstanding customer service. Where they do that at? Bama Entertainment, where the odds are always in your favor. Take exit 45 off 2059, sponsored by Red.
If you're looking for a golf cart or repairs to yours, stop by Dixie Custom Carts on Greensboro Avenue in Tuscaloosa. They sell Club Car, Donago, and Atlas golf carts. They can customize it to your specifications with a lift, tires, wheels, and lights. Dixie Custom Carts also carries a full line of parts and accessories, including chargers, windshields, hitches, Bluetooth kits, and so much more. If your golf cart needs repairs, the pros at Dixie Custom Carts can handle the job. Dixie Custom Carts, Greensboro Avenue in Tuscaloosa.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a social media manager.
Did you just post our Q4 earnings to your personal social media?
Oh yeah, used the trending audio and everything.
That's confidential financial data.
Relax. It only went a little viral.
The SEC just commented with the eyeball watching emoji.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A heat advisory in place today as we'll see temperatures reach into the mid-90s. Heat index values around 105. Sunshine. A 1 in 5 chance of an afternoon shower or storm. Any storms fade away this evening. Cloudy overnight tonight, low 77. A better chance of showers and storms for tomorrow. High tomorrow at 92. Hot and unsettled weather continues into Friday with sunshine. Friday's high 91. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 77 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Martin Xavier, Simeon, as we kick off the second quarter. Continuing the conversation about Ryan Coleman Williams is that, Ryan has to learn to be the guy. He has to not let teams be able to take him out of the game, whether he's in the slot or if he is on the outside. He still has to let his talent and ability win. And one thing that we've seen is he seems to have been working on his hands a lot this offseason, becoming more of a natural pass catcher and turning his hands the right way in the right moments. A lot of times he tried to body catch. That led to he had 10 drops last year. That probably led to 5 to 7 of his drops.
But I think he had like 5 or 6 of those in the first part of
the first game. Yeah, he
in
had
the first part
3
of
or
the
4
season.
against Florida State.
Huh?
He had 3 or 4 against Florida State.
That's what I'm saying is so I think the drops were a little even over exaggerated. Go ahead, Simeon.
He dropped that wide open touchdown pass
Touchdown against
against Georgia.
Wisconsin
No, Georgia.
and Wisconsin. He had
Yeah,
so
I mean, and that's what it was. It was the ones that were it was deep ball and it was walking touchdown and he just dropped it and then that becomes a mental thing after it happens more than once.
Yeah, it's funny. Herb Street against Georgia uh, in year one said he has unbelievable ball skills. A year later, when he drops the ball against Georgia, when he did the whole tip, turn around, catch.
Yep.
Then a year later, oh, he has horrible ball skill. So I think sometimes we over exaggerate stuff, and he did have a lot of drops. And the way you track drops, you don't track when they happen; you track for the whole year. So for the whole year, he had a lot, but down the stretch, he didn't have a lot. I think the problem was they didn't use him a lot. Now the question is, did they not use him a lot because he had drops? That's a possibility. So to me, I think this is a comeback, bounce back year for Ryan Williams. I think Ryan, you know, the big thing, and guys, like I said, I'm not making an excuse for his drops. I'm saying the thing of it is even with his drops, he still had almost 700 yards receiving. And anybody that watched Alabama play would say he was never the focal point of the offense.
Yeah.
No.
Never was
not this past year, no.
I never went into a game and felt like he was the guy. Was that once again because of drops, or was that because Ryan, guys, for the first time in his young life, he was going against teams who had talent to stop him and was targeting him. In high school and stuff like that, he was better than everybody, or they didn't have the film on him. When you look at his explosive play, the question is now he's gotten bigger, so they don't have to hide him on run plays. They can put him on the front side of a run play, and so I think you're going to see that Ryan Williams come back.
Yeah, and to talk about Jacob's point, talking about so will Brooks fall off this year? You can't compare Latsir Brooks. Latsir Brooks was really good as a freshman, but you cannot compare his freshman year to Julio, Amari, Calvin, Ryan. You would put him more in the category of the Judys and the Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, where they made big plays as freshmen, but they were never the focal point of the offense.
Right.
So I don't. Will teams be more aware of Latsir Brooks going into year two? Absolutely. But they're still going to try to focus more on number one, which will allow him to do more things in year two as he becomes a bigger part of the offense.
Simeon?
Yeah. When it comes to Latsir Brooks, I agree with everything that X just said, but based off of what you sent in during break, that I don't know if Ryan really had that big of a drop off this year because he, like you said, he was never the vocal point of the offense, and like that could have been for several different reasons. We all know that their relationship wasn't, with Grubb and Ryan wasn't the best, so that had something to do with it, I'm sure. But also, Jeremy Bernard was clearly by far the favorite target of Ty Simpson and Grubb, so he was used so much more. So when you look at it and you have 49 catches, almost 700 yards for a wide receiver 2 all year, that's not bad at all.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think Ryan is judged against what we expected. We expected Ryan to be Smith from Ohio State. We expected Ryan to be in the Heisman conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't use him as that type of player. Now, the part we don't know, once again, is whether that was because of what they saw in practice and confidence of the coaches and the quarterback. We don't know. But from the way he was used and apparently game planned around, it wasn't a bad season. It wasn't what we expected, but it's what this year. Watch this. If Ryan Williams has the season that Jeremy Bernard had last year, and Brooks gets 700 yards, which is pretty much what Ryan got, we won't think that Brooks had a bad season.
No.
Right?
He has the smallest drop off of those guys I mentioned too. By the way,
Ryan has the smallest drop off from one year to the next, and in catches he actually went up one.
He's the only one that went up in catches.
Yeah, it's just yardage. And if you take a couple of those drops, and all of a sudden Ryan Williams has more yards than he had the year before. If
you look at the Georgia catch is 60 to 70, is like 60 yards.
Yeah.
And that's another touchdown. The Wisconsin, that's another touchdown.
Yeah.
You just add a couple of these, he's back at that 800-yard mark and 7 touchdowns.
And throw the screen multiple times. Yeah. Go ahead, Simeon.
No, I'm just saying, if Ryan Coleman Williams has the same amount of touches that Bernard has this year, he will have well over 1,000 yards.
If he what now?
If he mimics the same amount of touches as Jeremy Bernard, I think Ryan has well over 1,000 receiving yards this year.
Yeah, I think you're gonna say, but two things. I do not think Lasher Brooks has a drop off year. I think Lasher Brooks was trending in the right direction, and I think that trend continues. I think it just continues. If Lasher Brooks came in as a freshman when Ryan Williams came in, I think Lasher Brooks has the same type of year that Ryan has as a freshman. I think he gets 700-800 yards easily. If Ryan wasn't on the team the year before and Brooks was in Ryan's spot, I think Brooks is good. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but he did not have the type of year that these other guys had in freshman year. How big a deal is it if Rodgers is back? And does Rodgers somehow maybe take some of the top end of Ryan Williams' plays? Because I think he's a little different receiver than Brooks. Bernard. Bernard was good, but I never saw Bernard as this guy that you saw as this big, deep ball threat over the top. And he was a good, he could get to intermediate to deep, but he wasn't the guy that you thought in that way. I think Rodgers has a little bit of that.
I'm not 100% sure, just because I haven't seen a lot of Noah Rodgers film. I think he's. My thought process is I thought he was a great replacement for what Jeremy brought to the table. The bigger bodied wide receiver, the physical wide receiver that you could trust over the middle for sure, in those short to intermediate routes that can be physical and break tackles and get you big plays. Not really sure that he's a take the top off wide receiver, but that's just because I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alabama has plenty of deep ball guys. I mean, Cedarian Morgan, Derek Meadows. So if Alabama can have a lineup where the shortest wide receiver is how tall is Noah Rodgers? 6'2". They can have Cedarian Morgan, Derek Meadows, and Noah Rodgers out there at one time, and everybody's a deep ball threat.
Yeah. Hugh Dixon asked a question, and that's the big question right now. One of the biggest questions for how good Alabama's offense is going to be is, will Rodgers be back? Rodgers will be back. We just don't know what game. Okay, he's trending in the right direction. We just don't know if he'll be back, week 2, week 4. So that'll be good. I think the bigger question in terms of Alabama's offense is E.J. Crowell. I think we need him to be in the mix because either all the other guys are going to have to step up their game or he's going to take their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I predicted it. He would be the starter at some point, so we'll see.
Now, I do believe Hill and Riley and Deere will step up their play, which is only a good thing. I think they see EJ breathing down their necks and they go, if I don't, not just EJ, Trayshawn Brown, both of those guys are guys that are going to be breathing down their neck and saying, if y'all don't perform, we will. So I think it's great competition in the running back room.
Absolutely. Coming back on the other side, we'll get into a couple questions of what we think DeBoer is going to say there. What would you ask him? What would you ask him if you had an opportunity to talk to Coach DeBoer? What will we talk about? We kind of hit a couple of those things that we mentioned as possibilities. We're also going to break down what Alabama. All you have to do is listen to SEC Media Days, and even though Saban's gone, you're still the big dog in the room because everybody has something to say about you, even when you're not talking. We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have some slowing on Highway 69 south from Skyline Boulevard to Old Greensboro Road. It's a 7-minute drive. We have continuing road work on Highway 215 between Skyline Boulevard and 10th Avenue. Also construction work on University Boulevard between Arcadia Drive and Crescent Ridge Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
The winnings are coming! The winnings are coming! It's our $75,000 Stars and Stripes wheel promotion at Pearl River Resort. On Fridays and Saturdays, we select one winner every hour from 7 to 11 p.m. March on down for your chance to win up to $2,500 in cash. This July, let freedom and fortune ring at Pearl River Resort. Must be 21 or older to play.
It started with my great-grandfather, grandfather, then father, then me.
So, Dad, who comes after you?
Who said anything about after me?
I'm just saying.
I'm Tom Osmond.
And I'm Sally Osmond. There's a good chance we found rings for your grandparents when they got married. And now we want to help you.
Bracelets, earrings, and precious gemstones for all occasions.
In the Tuscaloosa Galleria between Edgar's and Joey's and FincherandOsmond.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8124. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8124. That's 800-575-8124. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
All righty. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Martin and Xavier and Simeon as we kick off the second half. I want to encourage you, if you're looking for someone to work with you as an individual, as an entrepreneur, or work with your organization to help develop your bench strength, to help you get healthy, to help you have the right culture, empowerment training and consulting is your best option. Go to CoachMartinHouston.com, CoachMartinHouston.com. Find out all the information there, and we can help you with organizational health, championship performance, and sustainable execution. It's not just enough to be the champion. The question is, can you sustain it and execute at a high level? That's what Alabama did under Nick Saban. That's what made them so dominant as as an organization, and we can help you do likewise. So, a couple quick things. I had a couple questions, guys, come in. Jacob Powell asking about the O-line. Bigger question is the offensive line. Players don't matter on the outside if the QB gets hit 1 second after the snap. And then Q Dixon asked an interesting question about freshman running back. I'll hit that real quick. The question was, Martin, how real is the freshman wall for a running back? Because I'm depending on Crowell as well. I think it's over-exaggerated in today's game because the running backs, it's platoon. It's 2 to 3 running backs every team. That's why it was so impressive what Herschel Walker, what Derrick Henry did, because he's like the only guy in the Alabama era that didn't have a guy that he shared snaps with. I mean, I love Derrick Henry, but I think you could take Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy, TJ Yeldon, Najee Harris, Jameer Gibbs, give all of those guys those same number of carries. And the question is, would they had anything left out to go to the pros? I don't know that. But I think they would have had those types of seasons because if you add up their 2 and 3 running backs that they split time with, they had crazy numbers. But I think a misnomer is how bad our offensive line became under Kalen DeBoer. Because I think the offensive line was really bad before. And so sometimes I wonder, was our offensive line as bad as we think it was, or was it the commitment to the run? Because from a pass standpoint, I don't know if it was that bad because he said getting hit after 1 second. Maybe not. Look at the numbers, X.
Yeah, when you look at it, you go back to Bryce Young's Heisman Trophy year. Just from that standpoint on, Saban's last 3 years, Bryce over 2 years was sacked 57 times, 39 times in 2021. Heisman year, made it to the national championship. His junior year, he was sacked 18 times. Now, he also missed a game and a half, so that lowers that number a little bit. Then you look at Jalen Milroe, and this is where it gets bad. Jalen Milroe, the most athletic quarterback, most dynamic running quarterback Alabama has ever had, was sacked 44 times his first year as a starter. He was sacked a total of 67 times over 2 years. So he cut his almost in half up under DeBoer. And then Ty last year was 28, and he's not the runner or the elusive guy that either one of the previous 2 guys were.
So if you take Jalen and Ty, it's 51. Right? Yeah. So
if you take Bryce and Jalen as first year starters, it's 83.
That's crazy.
It's 101 sacks Saban's last 3 years.
Wow. That's crazy. So that means to match that production or lack thereof, they'd have to be sacked 50 times with Russell and Matt. If that happens, guys, we're in trouble, right? We're in trouble. So, but anyway, I just wanted to point that out but I think it's because our run game has been so bad But I think part of our run game is, guys, and we haven't talked enough about this. Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe did not know how to run the RPO game. They did not run the RPO game. And that is a huge part of Grubb and DeBoer's offense. They like the RPO, where you don't even know it was an RPO. It happens so quick. And Coach said that these two guys can do that. He said, as a matter of fact, sometimes you have to make them hand the ball off.
And what's worse, talking about commitment to the run game, it's been trending bad for Alabama for a while. You look at Brian Robinson, the last 1,000-yard rusher at Alabama, he had 271 carries. 271. Jameer Gibbs had 151 in 2022. Jason McClellan had 180 in 2023. Combined, Jam Miller the past 2 years had 4 more carries, 275, than Brian Robinson did in a single season.
Yeah. And if you add those two together,
he has less yards.
Who has less yards?
Jam the last 2 years than Brian Robinson combined.
No. I was gonna say, but you'd have a 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah.
You'd have a 1,000-yard rusher if he had the number of carries that Brian had.
Yeah.
So I think it's a commitment. I think it's also, I do think that we were still making the same types of mistakes at the end last year. So I think it was an execution point because it was the timing of some of our bad play. I think the O-line is going to be much better, much improved, even if the talent isn't through the roof better. I think the coaching gets us into a better place. I think the addition of the tight end gets us in a better place. I think the depth of the quarterback into the playbook gets us even more. And he said it on this show. Tight ends give you more holes, spread out the offense. You have linemen who can move and get us out in space and run screens and draws and run plays and move the pocket. All of those things go into a more effective run game. The question still becomes, will there be a commitment to it? And what should we expect from a run game? Is a 750 to 850-yard rusher the equivalent of a 1,000-yard rusher in the Saban era? Or should we expect a 1,000-yard rusher? So that's the part we're going to have to do. Really quick, before we get out of here, I want to talk, what do you think about Stephen A. calling for Coach DeBoer's head? I mean, him and Feinbaum.
I think they're both a joke. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. He's lost 8 games in 2 years with a depleted roster, and yet in those 2 years, he's won 20 games. He's made an SEC championship game. He's made the playoffs. He's won a playoff game. So from year 1 to year 2, there's this crazy thing called progression and improvement. So we should expect more progression and improvement in year 3.
Okay. Simeon, is he frozen? I think he's frozen. So
yeah, but I think it's ridiculous. The standard of what people keep looking at the recruiting rankings of what Saban had done leading up into 2024. They don't look at 40 players leaving, first rounders leaving, key contributors leaving, guys that went to their next school ended up being studs or just depth pieces that you have going in, especially going into year 1. I mean, it's a lot to it.
Yeah, and I think without a doubt, when you look at it, hopefully we can get Simeon back before we get out of here. I think Stephen A. and Feinbaum are shock jocks. So I think that they kind of live off of the hype. Simeon, are you back?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
No, just to continue what I said. I just think those guys like Stephen A. Smith and Paul Feinbaum are absolutely. It's just ridiculous when it comes to that because all you're doing is trying to drive up ratings. You're just trying to get clickbait. I mean, it's just simple as that. Because if you're the one throwing out all these issues, then who's the solution? Who could Alabama get? Like, I'm serious. Like, who would Alabama get right now that's better than Coach DeBoer? People say Lane Kiffin. You don't want Lane Kiffin at Alabama. It's not worth it. He's not a better and personally I don't think he's a better coach. You're not going to get Kirby, and that's the only one that I felt like you would even think about that would be over DeBoer, and you're not going to get Kirby from Georgia.
Against all of the big dogs, we haven't faced Lane Kiffin yet, but he's beaten all of the coaches that they say they should have hired.
Yep.
I mean, every coach that they say that they should have hired, he's beat them. I mean,
2-1 versus Kirby, 2-0 versus Brian Kelly. 1-1 against Heupel.
I'm talking about even.
He's beaten Sark. He's beaten Lanning. He beat Riley. I mean, who's the coach that has dominated him? That you would go
Venables,
Venables maybe. Yeah,
Venables, like
he got
Venables is a sign stealer. Venables is a sign stealer.
But he got Oklahoma 3rd time's a charm.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying that's the only coach he has like a losing record against.
Yeah.
And you're not trading DeBoer for Venables. So, like I said, and what's the name hit it right. He just want to get headlines and Bam Bam saying headlines and reviews, and that's what he was after. Because the reality of it is, but this, please put to bed, Simeon. The average age of this roster tells you that Nick Saban didn't leave the cupboard full.
Yeah.
DeBoer has spent the last 2 years not losing players at the rate that every other college has lost players. I mean, and has actually had a much higher retention, yet his roster is 20.4 years old. 21 other teams have only 21 other teams out of all of college sports have a younger team than Alabama. Alabama's the 22nd youngest team, and that's big at 20.04 years old. That tells you Saban lost everybody.
Yeah, and even the old guys on Alabama's team, just because like they graduated earlier or something. Austin Mack is listed as a senior, but he's only 20.
Right.
Ryan Coleman Williams is an upcoming junior. He's only 19.
That's true.
So even the old guys on the roster are still.
Bray's a young senior, 21.
The experienced guys are young.
Yeah,
experienced guys are young. So it's crazy. But real quick, Lenore Sellers says that he gave high praise to Womac's defense, guys, in talking about what they bring to the table. How they don't make mistakes and they give you a lot of different looks. That's going to be a big deal for this year's team. I think those first 4 weeks or so. I think we're going to finally see the offense come along, but Womac's defense, guys.
Hey, I don't think it gets any better than Kane Womack at Alabama right now. When it comes to defense, you can argue maybe Oregon and Georgia. Those are the only 2 defenses that I would consider taking over Alabama. So it's going to be fun when you're in that conversation, as long as the offense can make plays.
Hey, Simeon, what did you think about Raylan Wilson from Georgia, a linebacker? He seemed to have a totally different opinion of Alabama's offense versus what we have. But against Georgia, 2 out of the 3 games, I guess I see why. Do we not do the same thing against everybody else that we do against Georgia? Because he said, man, they do a lot of stuff run a lot of different formations, a lot of different plays. Why do we as Alabama fans not feel that way about our offense?
I I think Alabama fans don't feel that way just because they struggle to see the truly different aspects of the offense. I mean, there were reverses, screenplays, deep balls. I mean, we even had Caden Proctor lined up at wide receiver against Georgia. I mean, all those different formations go into a lot of different things that the defense has to adjust for. And so, even though we just think, as a fan watching, oh, that's just one play. Well, no, that's different formations. That's different sets. That's different things go into each and every formation that you have to prepare for as a defense.
All right, real quick before I do the Harvest Church Christian moment of the week, my big question for Kalen DeBoer is, Kalen, Coach, CKD, how do you prevent the massive losses, the Florida States, the Vanderbilts, the Georgias, the Indianas? How do you shore up your floor and keep the ceiling growing? That's my question. What's yours?
I guess my question is when it comes to Simeon, you got one? I got to think for a second.
I would just say how do you deal with the outside noise? How is it? Because fans are wanting another step in the right direction. How do you continue to focus on the goal that y'all are building?
What do you want to see from this team based off of everything you've seen this offseason going into the year? What do you want to build on?
Yeah, and all of those are legit questions. I'm sure Alabama fans have even more, but Alabama taking care of what they're taking care of. Jacob Powell saying because of production, when we can't get production, who cares how we move around the field? Well, we'll let that simmer until tomorrow. As we go into the Harvest Church Christian moment of the week, guys, I want to remind you that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. And being that difference, guys, I had an opportunity last night to go speak to Etowah County's Fellowship of Christian Athletes and had a room full of football players and coaches and volleyball players and athletes. And I told them their calling is bigger than the game, and that God has given them a platform called sports that allows them to be able to impact their schools like no one else can. I told them they may not be content creators, and you may not be a content creator, but you are an influencer. And how are you using whatever your calling is? If it's sports, if it's teaching, if it's coaching, if it's working at a manufacturing plant, wherever you are you running the play that God has called you to run? There's 5 things that I believe every believer needs to do. That is to know God, to love God, to walk with God, to serve God, and to stand for God. And the only way we can do that is run the play that God is calling us. When a coach calls a play and you don't always understand what play he's calling, y'all, Xavier and Simeon, y'all both played sports. Sometimes the coach call a play and you're like, come on, coach, what you doing? Why are you calling that play right here, right now? That's what we do when we watch the game. But I'm telling you, the coach, especially the one in the press box, sees the entire field. He knows what he's setting up, and he knows what's coming next. And for us, we need to know that Jesus is our coach in the booth who sees everything. He may be setting up something next. That's why Romans 8:28 is so true. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So remember these 4 things. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not in your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. That's your play. Number 1 is put your trust in God. That's the P. Number 2 is lean not on your own understanding. That's the L. The A is acknowledge him in everything you do, no matter where you go. And the Y is he will order your steps. We all have a play to run for Jesus. And if you're not in the game, then you can't run your play. If you're not in the huddle, he can't call your number. So if you're out there listening right now and you've not made a decision to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're not only not on the sideline, you're in the stands cheering on and missing out on being in the game. Get in the game today by accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and run the play he's called. When you get to the end, he's not going to ask you how much money you made. He's not going to ask you about what fame or fortune you had. He's going to simply ask you, did you run the play I called? Put your trust in the Lord today. Lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path today. Know him, love him, serve him, walk with him, and most of all, in 2026, let's stand for Jesus. That's Xavier Houston. That's Simeon Houston. I'm Martin Houston. That's Chase Brumfield. This has been the Martin Houston Show. Remember this: trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct your path. Roll Tide, everybody.
Going on right here. A dedication to last throughout the years.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.